After the business with the anti-royalist demonstrators has been quelled thanks to the timely intervention of Richard, Duke of York, and the members of the Loch Adventuring Company, the funeral of the two Lords Harper, Draco and Oscar was a solemn affair held at the Church of Peaceful Repose by the new priest, Archdeacon Valentine Main. Everyone drifted back to their homes afterwards, and the next day the town of Porthcrawl is abuzz with rumours that Lady Juliana Harper, current head of the Harper family, who was inconsolable during the funerals of her father and brother, is pledged to be married to the Duke of York, allying the houses of York and Harper. Rumours are also abounding in the town that the Duke of York is trying to arrange a meeting with Oliver Cromwell, the leader of the parliamentarian forces. There are rumours that he's planning to offer concessions to them in return for their help taking back the throne of the Havenlands for his family from the current Lancastrian dynasty. The heroes of the Loch Adventuring Company are planning to head to the city of Blymouth, where they believe they can buy more variety of equipment. They have also recently taken on some hirelings and meet in their new headquarters to discuss matters.
So, we need an accountant, otherwise our taxes will be way high.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this stuff. Also, we need some more crossbows and other equipment we can't get here. So I suggest we take our horses, take our wagon, take two of our guys. I point at Hamish and Hamo, and the other two guard our house.
The heroes discuss preparing for the potential wedding and their trip to Blymouth, at which point William and Sasha engage in a little bit of a debate about who they should take with them and whether Hamish, their labourer, is required to stay behind or whether he'd be useful to bring with them, to which Hamish responds in his typical brusque fashion.
Well, when you soft southern Jessies have decided what you want me to do, why don't you just let me know?
I'll just kind of like titter under my breath and lean back and have a drink as well.
As they discuss their plans to head to Blymouth, they hear the voice of Guy, one of their guards, whom they'd put outside to keep an eye on the entrance to their property, shout out to them.
Hey, in the house. There's someone coming up the path towards the house. Some fella in a waistcoat with an earring in his ear.
Looking out through the door, they realise that the man in the waistcoat is none other than Wolsey Halley, an information broker of sorts, whom they have bought information from in the past. They invite him in, and he hints that he has some juicy information about the alliance between the House of York and Harper that he would be willing to part with for suitable remunerations. Knowing that his information is normally good, William hands over the silver pieces without hesitation, and is rewarded when Halley speaks thus.
Right, let's do this. Says, you know that the Duke of York's proposed marriage to Lady Juliana, planning to unite the two houses. Yeah, common knowledge. I wouldn't charge you for that. He says, well, I happen to have heard it from someone who was on the Duke's ship that's currently in the harbour that before he arrived in Porthcrawl, before he set out, he sent out messengers to seek out Cromwell. From what I hear, he's planning to offer concessions to the parliamentarians in return for their supporting him, helping him take back the throne for his family. From what I understand, he's offering to devolve some of the monarchy's power to Parliament and reinstate it as, like, I suppose you'd call it like an advisory body to like the ruling monarch, which, if his plan comes to fruition, will be him, or at least someone in his house. Now, I've also heard that he started to like put his like feelers out amongst the houses that used to be allied to his back in the day, and he started like drawing them to his banner. Now, from what I know, I expect that won't go unnoticed by the ruling monarchy, and I expect they'll start doing the same. If you were to ask me, I reckon this war's soon going to escalate. It's going to get a lot bloodier. I mean, the only thing that's slowed it down so far is, well, the parliamentarians, well, they ain't really got enough menfolk and like experienced soldiers to make it a straight out fight. That's why they've been like nibbling away and sort of like sabotaging various like royalist concerns.
Would you have means to arm them?
Richard, well, he's a war hero, isn't he? And he's got plenty of plunder from overseas and campaigns he's fought in, and well, depending on what houses he's able to draw to his banner, yeah, they could have the money to outfit the parliamentarians, maybe even like train them up a little bit. I mean, Richard York, I mean, he's an experienced campaigner. He's got a lot of people who have got that sort of know-how and have honed their fighting skills abroad. Well, if they could pass it on to the parliamentarians, they could become a seriously dangerous force. I reckon this whole mess is going to get well bloody before it's out.
Thank you. Do you know anything about this new priest which came into Porthcrawl?
Well, I've obviously I saw him at the funeral, and I know he's been getting busy with like, the rumours of like a marriage and whatever. I mean, I don't know yet whether it's going to take place in Porthcrawl or whether the Duke Richard's going to want to have it take place somewhere else, but I think they're trying to get the church ready, you know, just on the off chance. But I don't know a lot about him, to be honest. I know he's been spending a lot of time talking to the priests who are at the Devil's Moor, you know, that bloody huge fucking crater that's to the north of here. But other than that, I don't know much. I mean, I could try and find out, but
yeah, that's what I want you to do.
Well, no problems, boss. I can't guarantee how quick it's going to be, because you know you've got to tread like well carefully around these like church types.
Yeah, I understand. We will be away for maybe a week or two, so take your time.
All right, no problem, sir. I'll get on it and see what I can ferret out.
If this York fellow is planning to arm the Roundheads, we should also stock up before all the weapon production goes to the war effort.
What are you suggesting? Where you want to go?
But since we're going, we might as well buy more guns.
Well, the price will go up soon, so sounds like a good idea.
I mean, it's not a bad idea if everyone has had at least 2 pistols.
And a crossbow and some other things, but yeah. So, anything else anyone want to add?
So, if they do all go to war and this all starts off, are we supporting the York?
Well, who else should we support?
No, but I mean, are we fighting?
No, we're not fighting. We will.
I'm not a soldier, and I suppose we are not going to be mercenaries or anything.
Wow, says Ballsy. If it's anything like previous, I mean, obviously I've seen previous conflicts, but like not on this scale. But well, if it's anything like previous, I expect most of the lords and the barons and that who have lands and have like vassals and peasants working for them, well, they'll start a military draft soon enough, because they'll need people in to fill the armies.
Based on what Edmund said, I mean, being a soldier is a almost sure way to get yourself killed, especially if you're under command of one of the nobles.
Well, there is that, but a lot of common folk. Well, it's not like they have a choice. You know, you have to. That's how it works. You've got to like serve your lord, and if your lord says you're getting in the army and you're serving me that way, well, you're getting in the army and you're serving him that way.
Well, the big question is, where will the fighting be? Are we in danger here?
It's not just that though. People pay a lot of money for a good mercenary.
That's true, and I expect from what I've said, if the Duke of York is looking to like train up the parliamentarians, he'll be looking for experienced warriors to like pass on their skills and like train up the mass of his troops. Because what this, like any war, what this is going to come down to is it's going to come down to who's got the most bodies and who's got the best trained bodies. That's what wins wars.
Well, we can think about it on the way there. I think we should go.
But now,
At this point, Sasha asks Wolsey Halley whether he knows anything about the alleged academic delegation, including Corvin Thorne, that is supposed to be arriving to visit the sage Salazar. Wolsey Halley says that he's heard of it, but he doesn't really know any of the details. They ask him to find out, at which point Wolsey says, well, what do they want him to find out about more? The priest or this Corvin Thorne? They say they want him to research Corbin and find out as much as he can first, and then start looking into the priest. He agrees, also agreeing to work on a permanent retainer for the Lock Adventuring Company, as long as the money keeps flowing. You're not staying for the execution, then?
the execution.
Who's going to get killed?
Oh, you fellas really need to get yourself a gaff closer to the town. You're missing out on all the good stuff. Says, yeah, did you not hear?
No.
Says, well, apparently around about midnight on the evening of the funeral, there was some guy who was supposed to be on guard, was found basically wandering around pretty much naked, stinking of booze, talking absolutely crazy stuff, just gibbering, like he was possessed or something. And he's deserted his post, hasn't he?
Interesting.
Well, wouldn't it? None of the noble families take kindly to that, and obviously the priests took a dim view of it as well. It's obviously some kind of devil possession taking control of him. So he's going to be executed in the town square. In fact, I was just on my way down to watch when I thought I'd nip in here and see if you wanted to get the information off me.
Well, he's not getting drowned, so I'm not very interested in it.
No, it won't be drowning. It'll be something much more humane. It'll be beheading, most likely.
I like drowning.
Well, each to their own, boss. Each to their own.
I'm looking around. Anyone want to see it?
I'm just kind of looking at Odrin.
I mean, how much of this is law, and how much is to appease the masses now that all that weird shit have going on in town? I mean, it's usually a good thing to get people out. They get their minds off what else take place.
Wow, says Wolsey. Well, if you're employed as a house guard for one of the noble houses, you get certain privileges and certain benefits, but you accept certain responsibilities in return for it. And one of those is you don't leave your post without a damn good reason. And this fellow, who don't have no good reason, he's found wandering off naked through the town, spouting off random gibberish and looking like a man possessed. Well, what they expect the nobles to do. Especially, you can't expect House Harper not to crack down on this. The kind of people thinking, it's all right to sign on to be a guard with them, and then just go around wandering around the town half naked, abandoning your post.
I suppose so.
Well, you've got to have a bit of military discipline. That's how it works with that sort of thing.
I'm also looking at Audran. How does he react?
He's getting ready to go to the blacksmith, so not really paying mind. He's just shrugs as this tale of this weird ass man is told. He's probably mutters something about dude can't keep down his shrooms.
When has Odrin ever paid attention to these discussions?
You're talking about politics, which is way above his pay grade. So
okay,
he's been getting ready to take this trip to Blymouth and go to the blacksmith. So.
I'll go talk to Salazar, and then we can leave for...
Okay. I don't want to see it. You can go.
No, I want to go see Salazar. I don't want to see
I'm talking to Woolsey.
Right, well, if you don't need me for anything else, boss, I'll see you all later. And he said, I'll get...
seeing this guy killed.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'll be great, a few drinks, watch an execution, lovely stuff.
Anyway, I'll see you all later. And he turns around and like walks off. As he walks out the door, he's like, fellas, and he to your guards, and he heads off.
As Wolsey leaves, the party splits in two, with William and Sasha heading to see the sage Salazar to see whether they can press him for any more information about when Corbin Thorne is arriving in Porthcrawl, whilst Odrin and Maddock head to witness the execution, although Maddock isn't feeling particularly happy about the part they may have played in this unfortunate guard's downfall.
Hello there, my young friends. What can I do for you?
Hello. We heard from your daughter that you're gonna get company soon.
At which point you see his eyes sort of light up a little bit, and he like rubs his wizened hands together, and he's like, "Oh yes, I'm quite excited about it. It'll be nice to actually speak in person to some of the people I've maintained a written correspondence with for such a long time. Always good to share ideas and theories with people of a similar thought process. You understand?"
Yes. So, we heard that Thorne, the distinguished Corbin Thorne, is coming as well.
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm quite excited. He's something of a visionary, you know. I've exchanged letters over the years about various theories, but we've never really had the chance to meet in person. Someone of my advanced years, I'm not really capable of travelling on the road quite as much as I used to, and the sea air does me such good around here. But no, it'll be wonderful to actually speak to him in person.
Yes. Do you know where he's travelling from?
No, I'm afraid he didn't say in his letter to me. He simply said that he was looking forward to exchanging ideas with myself and the others, and he would be here. Oh, well, let's see, it'll be a day or two if they're travelling at a good speed, based on what his letter says.
Oh, it's just going to be a big gathering.
Oh, well, there'll be at least there should be at least half a dozen of us here. I'm speaking to the new Lady Harper to see whether there's sufficient room and whether she'd be willing to house them at the estate temporarily while they're staying here. I mean, they are very distinguished guests after all.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, how's my young apprentice faring?
Well, he was up here, right? We kind of left him up here, right?
No, I was given to understand that you'd all moved into the old captain's premises.
Yeah, I'm asking you, John. Is Barden with us?
No, Barden's at the Harper estate, as far as you're aware.
No, I'm actually up here to get him.
Salazar looks a little bit confused and says, "Well, I'm afraid Odrin's not up here."
Oh, Odrin, yeah. Okay, yeah. Odrin is doing fine. He's
oh, good, splendid.
He's studying every day, coming up with
excellent
new mixtures and tinctures all the time.
He has a new garden now. I think he will come to you looking for some seedlings and stuff. I'm not so good with these things.
Oh, I am pleased to hear it, and that he's taken to the craft with such a vigour and enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well, you're a good man, Salazar, and apparently a good teacher, so...
Oh, thank you for saying so, Charm. Thank you for saying so.
And, well, it's been, It shuffles her feet. It's been weighing on me lately. Our first encounter.
He looks a little bit concerned and says, "Yes, No, please, let me speak first. I know we didn't exactly get off on the right foot, young miss, but it was a very emotional time for both of us. I understand that neither of us was entirely in full control of our emotions at the time, and the way I see it, aside from that first encounter, our relationship has been nothing but cordial. So if you do harbour any misgivings, please put them out of your mind. I certainly bear no ill will regarding that first meeting.
I'm glad you feel that way. For what it's worth, I feel the same.
Splendid.
We do have a lot to do today, so maybe I could get Barden and we could be on our way.
Oh, I'm sorry. But Barden's not here. He hasn't been here for a while.
Really?
Yes, I'm sure you're aware. He's no longer my apprentice in any real capacity, so I've not been keeping track of the young fellow. I gather he'd been helping out at the local tavern, from what I hear.
Oh. He looks at Will. Okay. We will go there then. Thank you, and see.
Hi, Bo.
Have courtesies, have not courtesies, somewhat in between.
But pleasant journeys to you both. And he turns around and he starts walking back in, leaning quite heavily on his cane.
While this is going on, Maddock and Odrin are heading towards the blacksmith Angus Drummond's, a journey which takes them past the crowd that is building up to watch the execution in the centre of Porthcrawl.
Well, as you're sort of heading into the centre of town to go to Drummond's, you can see already that quite a large crowd's gathering. You don't see any sign of the accused yet, but as you're actually walking towards Angus Drummond's, you see a dishevelled looking man, pretty much just wearing a shirt and trousers, being dragged by several of the guards wearing the House Harper regalia. You recognise, obviously, it's the guy that Odrin dosed up and kicked out of the house. You can see he still looks a bit spaced out. His eyes are sort of wild and staring. His hair's all wild and mussed up. His clothes are tattered. He's being sort of manhandled by these guards through this crowd, and as the crowd parts to let them through, you can see a fairly sort of tall, muscular man. He's wearing sort of shirt, trousers, normal sort of villager clothes. However, he has a black hood with just 2 eye holes in it over his head, and you can see he's holding a long axe. Mm-hmm. And as they part, you can see that there's what appears to be a large barrel sort of directly in front of him.
So probably not long till the main event.
Yeah, you can see that the guards appear to be dragging this wild-eyed vagabond towards the barrel.
I'll do well.
Yeah, on the way over. So effectively before this stage, if we can do a on the walk over with Odrin, effectively, it's so Odrin, this guard, the one that they're gonna kill.
Mm-hmm.
You okay with that?
Well, to be honest, and I turn to look at you, I never saw the appeal in taking a man, put him in on a thing there on the stage, and then making a big show of it, and watching the whole thing.
I'm not a fan either, and
I like to do it with my own hand.
Well, I kind of make a similar kind of hey, there's an honesty about it. It's not a show. It's for your continued life or some shinier things that need to belong to you.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it's just look at these people. And I pointed some like random people who are there like fawning over there's going to be an execution. Yay! Excitement. I just pointed at them. I just said, look at them. They're not going to fight in their lives.
It's cheap excitement over something that shouldn't be fawned over. So I felt a bit bad, I'm not going to lie. I'm all for killing someone if they deserve it, but that guy effectively stumbled into a house and got shit-faced on our account.
Well,
no, hear me out, right, Argent? You like giving people drugs, am I right?
What do you mean by drugs?
Well, that drink you made me was not alcoholic.
You mean the sacred mushroom?
Oh.
The green cap of Dagon.
Aye, that one. That's what you gave the guard, wasn't it?
No. No, I gave him some of the... If there was leftovers in a garden, that's what it was.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to go into details because I know you're not a herbalist.
No, well, I can make pretty good bread, but that's about it.
Bread's good. I like bread.
Aye, I like bread. Maybe I'll make you some bread sometime. Anyway, so could you make something with your mushrooms that could make someone, in pretty short order, have the same kind of effect?
I'm not sure I follow.
Well,
I'm going to say at this point in the conversation, because obviously you've been like walking and talking. At this point in the conversation, this is when you reach town and you see like the guy being dragged through the crowd with the guards. You've got basically like a minute at most before this guy's like.
Okay, I'm like, right. I'll cut it short. Effectively, what I was going to say was, do you think you could drug some random people around town the same way? And I'm going to go and tell them that it was some kind of dwarven flu and say, sorry, my bad.
While Odrin is mixing his concoction and distributing it to the villagers, Maddock attempts to explain that the strange behaviour of the guard wasn't his fault. It was a rare strain of dwarven flu that he has brought down with him from the wilds of Scotland. Although the guard captain is initially sceptical, when a small riot breaks out amongst the drugged villagers, he takes it a little bit more seriously and sends a runner to Lady Juliana to ask her to clarify her orders. The runner returns a short while later, saying that the man is still to be executed. Maddock looks on a little downhearted as the unfortunate guard is executed. While this is going on, Sasha heads over to the tavern to try and fetch young Barden.
Okay, well, as you head towards the tavern, Sasha, you can actually see that the door's open and like Barden's like stood in the door, like watching this guy. He's like, what the fuck? Just sort of like watching this like mini riot outside, sort of like looking like really confused. He's still wearing that ridiculous floppy hat that you gave him like ages ago with the feather in it. And as he sees you approaching, his like cheeks colour a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, Miss Sasha," and he sort of looks quite worried as you've sort of like just come through this riot as far as he's concerned, because he's just seen you like come round the side. He sort of like almost rushes over to you a few steps, and he's like, "Oh, Miss Sasha, are you all right?"
Yeah. Yes. I'm not sure what goes on down there.
I've no idea. I mean, I heard they were going to execute a guard because he'd left his post, and but I was just stood here watching, and then the next thing I know, everyone started fighting over there. I don't know what's going on.
It's been a weird couple of days. So, how's Poppy?
She's better. She's better. I think she's on the mend. She started working a bit behind the bar again in the tavern. I'm doing my best to help out as much as I can, just to help ease her back into it. But yeah, she seems to be much better. I mean, and he sort of lowers his voice a little, and he sounds like genuinely concerned. I have seen her a few times, sort of staring wistfully out of her bedroom window towards the coast, but I think she's getting better.
Sasha goes into then.
Yeah, you enter the inn. Barden obviously follows you, his floppy hat bouncing up and down. you can see Sasha. She still looks like a little pale and like a little thin and drawn, but she stood behind the bar, sort of cleaning some of the tankards, etc. She looks up at you as you enter and she says, "Oh, hello."
Hello. And she goes up to the bar. You heard we got the estate up on the hill. The Hayes estate.
I think I remember. I think I remember Alf saying something about it, but I've only just felt strong enough to get out of bed and come back to work. But both Alf and young Barden here have been so kind helping me out. But I think I remember him saying something about it.
We live in town for a few days. We need to go.
Well, where are you going?
We're going to Blymouth to do some shopping.
Oh, you ought to be careful going to Blymouth. That's Duke Salt's town. I've heard terrible things about him.
Oh. Yes.
Well, his taxes are some of the highest in the area. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like a haven for merchants and traders and all such, but well, you hear stories about him, about the punishments he levies against his vassals who can't meet his high levels of tax.
Well, we're just going down to shop, not to.
And then there's what happened to Malgreen as well.
Malgreen?
She said, look, she says, "Oh, sorry, yes, I keep forgetting that you're not from around here." Well, Malgreen is, or I suppose I should say, was a small village between, well, just on the outskirts of Plymouth. Well, as I've said, Duke Salt levies a high tax from all the villagers and the farmers and the sheep herders and all of that around Blymouth. And apparently, from what I hear, at some point in the recent past, the villagers of Malgreen decided that they'd had enough. They had quite a bad harvest, from what I've heard. A lot of their animals had died, and they refused to pay the taxes. And well, from what I gather, Duke Salt sent a load of his men in and fairly burnt the place to the ground.
That is horrible.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I mean, it makes me glad that the nobles, Lord Draco, God rest his soul, it makes me glad that we had a much kinder lord here. Although, what this new lady of the manor will be like, I don't know. I've never even seen her, to be honest.
No, Lord Draco was a good noble, but I'm more concerned about you, Bobby.
That's very kind of you, but like I said, I'm back on my feet now. I'm sure I'm on the mend.
If you need some time to recuperate and maybe relax for a few days, I want you to feel welcome at our estate, and if you want, you can stay there.
She walks around the bar and she gives you a hug, sort of holding you close to her, and in a sort of quiet voice she says, "Oh, thank you, Sash. That means ever so much to me."
This is that's a little. Yeah, I was gonna take young Baden with me, but Baden, do you still have your short sword and pistol?
Yes, of course, Miss Sasha. You gave them to me. I wouldn't throw such things away.
Okay. I want you to stay with Poppy and make sure nothing ill towards comes to her.
At which point he sort of stands up and like puffs out his chest a little bit, and he says, "Of course, Miss Sasha. I shall protect Poppy with my life." And he like puffs his chest out a little bit.
Um,
And he does like a really like, over-exaggerated bow with his hat.
yeah. Oh, she smiles at him. If you feel you don't, it's up for having the tavern open and all that, I wish you would consider staying at the estate. We have food and wine and everything.
I'll have a talk with Alpha about it when he gets back. Perhaps he could manage the tavern for a couple of more days on his own, and if he thinks he can manage, I'll most definitely take you up on your kind offer. As she's like talking to you like this, you see her Bard, and he starts to there's a couple of times where he's like as though he's going to say something, and then he sort of like he stops himself, and his like cheeks go red, and he sort of like looks down at his feet. You see Poppy like sees this out the corner of her eye, and she smiles a little bit at him and says, "Go on, young Bardin," and she like nods her head towards you. At which point he sort of walks behind the bar, and he picks something out from behind the bar, holding it behind his back, walks out round the bar towards you, and he suddenly goes like this, and he's holding a bunch of wild flowers in his hand, and he just sort of holds them out towards you, but sort of like looks down, his like cheeks are bright red, almost like luminous, and he's like sort of
Oh, she smiles. Oh, for me, how wonderful! When she takes the bouquet of flowers and gives him a little kiss on his cheeks.
he grins, but he looks like too embarrassed to like speak.
She looks at Poppy. I'll leave I'll leave word with the guards up there.
Oh, thank you. You notice that as Barden's giving you these flowers, Poppy's been watching this, and although she looks happy, there's like a sort of wistful note of sadness on her face as she watches this young love as she sees it.
So since Tessa can hear flowers now, can you hear them wailing in pain? Or are they dead?
As you're like holding these flowers, all you can hear is like, "Fuck's sake, get me some water. Get out, I'm dry. I'm so thirsty. Give me some water. Soil, anything."
Okay, she'll check in on her little baby Groot in the corner to see if he got water and all that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I'll be off. You two, take care.
Poppy hugs you again and says, "Thank you. Whether I can stay with you or not, I'll certainly send word as soon as I've had a chance to speak to Alf. Again, thank you for your kind offer and all the kindness you and your fellowship have shown to me. It really has meant the world to me." The crowd start dispersing with the spectacle over. The executioner disappears off. You see him basically like head into the tavern. Obviously, like he's going back to his day job. The guards pick up the remnants of this poor, unfortunate victim of the execution and start carrying it off. You can see that they, oddly enough, you can say, I mean, you're not that familiar with human customs, Maddox, but from what you've seen previously, when like humans die, they take them to a church. They're buried at the church. However, as you can see him carrying this guy away, you see they're like not carrying him towards the church. They're carrying him sort of like towards the outskirts of Porthcrawl.
Oh, okay, so I effectively got my drink. And just kind of like look at Audrey and just like, are they not taking him to the posh dead house?
I don't know how this sorcery works for them. I'm sorry.
Well, we gave it a go. In fairness, it was nice to have a little bit of a ruckus as well.
Do you think the sickness will be prevalent in this area?
I think if you stay in this area, the sickness will remain. The god of dank water will keep the flow.
Okay, so... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so as we probably head towards the smithy then, and he's talking about the god of dank waters. Like we fade out on Audrey going, "Have you ever considered?"
And just a
No.
Not really.
here we go again.
Okay, so as you guys arrive outside the forge, you can hear the sound of hammer hitting anvil, all the normal sounds you'd associate with the forge. And as you sort of like peer through the door, you can see sort of like working the bellows with the furnace, hammering metal. There's Angus Drummond, his normal sort of like his beard like a little bit singed, the sparks flying out, his normal sort of stony expression on his like clay-coloured face as he's like ding, ding, ding. As he hears you come in, he doesn't even stop like hammering for a minute. You can see if he's like working on some horseshoes or something similar. He doesn't even stop like hammering. He just sort of like gestures with his other hand like over to the corner of the room and carries on like hammering away.
Okay, I'm gonna go check where he gestured towards.
Okay, now if I remember correctly, you were coming here to see if you'd fixed the giga flail that you'd found.
Yeah. The hyper flail.
Okay, as he points to the corner of the room and you look, you can indeed see this large flail that you got from the catacombs under the Church of Peaceful Repose. It appears to have been like restored. It's not been entirely remade, but he's like reinforced with like metal plates, like the bits that were damaged. Effectively, so he's not entirely remade it, but he has repaired it and made it usable again.
Right, so I pick it up, and I already paid him, so that's sorted out.
Okay, you have a great weapon, a flail, which will do 1d10 damage.
Yeah, someone's gonna have a bad day.
So is this where it freezes and we see Odrin in the hero pose with his new weapon?
Yeah, just doing the Conan thing.
Yeah.
Having loaded up their wagon and masquerading as turnip farmers, the heroes set out towards Porthcrawl.
It's a beautiful, clear green sky. The weather is unusually balmy. There's a slight sea breeze. Nothing particularly untoward.
By the way, I am taking a dozen reds with me,
Yeah, that's
just
fine.
in case.
Yeah, no
I'm
problems.
using one of my action stuff, one of my power stuff for that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so you're travelling on the first day. As you're sort of like, you're just about getting ready to like make camp for the night, etc. You see what appears to be a wagon train with a young man, a young woman on it, just like a very sort of small like wagon, just like a single horse, sort of like covered over on the top. They appear to be sort of like heading in the opposite direction to you. As they're sort of like getting a bit near you, the fella who's riding it sort of like holds up his hand and he's like, "Ho there!"
That's you, Maddock. You look the most normal.
Yeah, at that point I was like, oh really? Oh really? Hello there!
He says, "Where are you bound for, travellers?"
Oh, we're off to sell turnips in Blymouth.
He sort of like creases his brow a bit and he's like, "Turnips?" He's like Plymouth sheep country, friend.
Hey, what do you think sheep eat, my friend?
He says, "Well, you've got me there, I suppose." And you see, he says, I say, he's got me there, Matilda." At which point she laughs a little and he says,
What about yourself? What are you selling?
"Oh, I'm not selling anything." He says, "Well, I'm just heading to the nearby inn, planning to get my head down for a night's soft bed. I don't much fancy camping out under the stars."
Right.
He says, I'm heading to the Knotted Plough, not too far away from here."
I'll just kind of like turn around to everyone and be like, where are we going?
Blymouth.
No, but are we staying anywhere?
No.
Might as well stay at the inn. Ask them if they heard about this
Well,
good
all right.
highwayman.
We could save some rations.
I'm like, right, save rations in highwayman. Right! So
They've pulled a bit nearer by now. They've sort of pulled their wagon alongside you, and
yeah, I kind of like start to shout like, yeah, oh, hello, yeah, right. So
he takes like a water skin that's strapped around his waist. Takes like a glug of it and sort of holds it out to you across like the few feet between your wagons.
like, thank you. And I like have a swig, and then kind of begrudgingly look at my last like.
It's water, but it tastes horrible. It's like someone's got like a water skin of like pond water and gone.
Madak is now very suspicious about accepting drinks from strangers.
I am. True story. I was like, I won't actually mince my words. I'm like, where'd you get that?
He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. I suppose I should have warned you. He says, we're just coming from Blymouth, you see, and well, we've got a problem with the wells there. That's part of the reason we're heading to the Knotted Plough. They've got a well there that I heard the water's clear, so thought we'd head there, spend the night there, actually get some decent water.
Well, all right then. I'll have like a little sip of some of my dwarven whiskey, and then just kind of like really begrudgingly be like, hold my cask out.
He holds his hands up and says, oh no, I don't drink myself.
I'll just kind of eagerly take it back and put the lid back on.
Then we'll take one of our water skins with water and give it to Madak.
I'll just be like, oh, here you go. So, this not a plough, is it? It's not in Blymouth then, it's just outside.
He says, no, it's one of the way stations, one of the inns along the travelling route.
All right. And, have you heard, it's a strange thing, about do-gooding highwayman?
He says, oh, you mean William the Hood?
Do I?
It's actually nuts.
Yeah, I'll just kind of like look befuddled and just, do I?
I have a hood.
Hey, you must admit it's a cool nickname.
I've got, so,
He says, He says,
I'm
yes,
not out there.
He says, yes, everyone's heard of him. Although, from what I hear, he's up near the Long Chase Wolds, causing ever such problem for the tax collectors and such like up there. And well, I hear he's been robbing from all those rich nobles and those toffs around there, and he's been redistributing the wealth out to the poorer people. Well, he's become quite the local. He's almost a local legend. He's become quite the hero.
That's not me.
Yeah, I'm like, I got it. All right. That's a bit curious. Do you not think? Have you seen him before?
He says, "Oh no, I've not seen him directly myself, but like I say, it's mostly near the Long Chase Wolds. A good sort of 4 or 5 days ride to the northeast from here. But well, I've met some of the nobles who've fallen afoul of him, and I've heard the stories from the locals who have been the recipients of his generosity. Well, it's a strange time we live in, and no mistake with the war, and now there's someone actually caring about the common man. Well, I never thought I'd live to see the day.
Indeed. That and the Devil's Moor, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's a strange business, and no mistake. Although we've only really heard rumours in Blymouth about it.
Oh, it's quite a sight. I'd go and have a look at it if you're interested.
He says, "Oh, maybe we'll." What do you think?" Matilda returns towards his wife, and she says, "Oh, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not sure I want to go anywhere called the Devil's Moor." And she looks at you with almost like an apologetic look on her face, and she's like, "Oh, we're a God-fearing family. I'm not sure I want to dabble in anything that has the stink of old Nick about it."
Go. Why is Nick a bad person?
Oh, Nick. And then she's sort of like, a husband's like a probably he's a dwarf, dear. He probably doesn't know all of our colourful nicknames for the devil. And he said, "Old Nick's just a way of referring to the devil, my friend."
Oh, all right. Well, as I say, the Devil Morning, it's very impressive to look at, but not for everyone. There's a lot of large crabs down there.
You notice Matilda sort of shudders when she says, "Oh no, I don't think we should be going there, Ambrose. No." And he's like, "Probably right, dear. Probably right. But we'll have a quiet night at the inn. You know, we just relax, soft beds. Head back to Blymouth in the morning."
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Well, we'll maybe see you there, because we're now headed there now.
Well, why didn't you ride along with us? After all, safety in numbers.
My face went notably just kind of like. I'm just gonna look round to everyone else.
Riding close to their newfound companions, the heroes on their cart head to the Knotted Plough, a small way station. From within can be heard the sounds of drinking and drunkenness.
It's an L-shaped sort of stone building with a wooden stable next to it. There's a small... The stables are sort of like here.
Effectively, after we get out of the car, and what I assume is a very long journey for Maddox, having to try and make chit-chat with the random guy and his missus, and just be like, "So, Hamish, can we get a pint?"
Hamish is like, "Aye." Man, a few words. Okay, so I'm using like a couple of generic peasant tokens for the people who've come with you. I've just put like the green dots next to them to like mark them out rather than doing separate ones. Okay, so you can see, obviously we're not in combat rounds, effectively you can see this sort of L-shaped stone building. There's a small well here, which the Ambrose and his wife head over to, and they start sort of like filling various containers they've got with them with water from this well.
And the water looks alright?
As they're pulling it out, you see like a couple of the buckets full of water. The water looks fresh, clear. There's no noticeable odour of any kind to it.
I'm gonna go to the well as well, and like they're taking up like bucketfuls of water, right?
I'm gonna follow him to see if he puts anything in before Assassin gets some fresh water.
Stop profiling me, damn it!
Because I know if I get alcohol he hasn't touched, I should be okay.
So my intent is to just like grab a lot of the shovel the water into my mouth with my hands. Just like take some from one of the buckets that they pulled out.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Does it taste?
It tastes fresh and clean.
Okay, so I have some of it and wash my face in it and mumble thanks to Dagon in the sign of the old ones. Okay. And I'm healing myself at the well.
No problems. Okay, Maddox, you've moved yourself over to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning to head in?
I am indeed. Me and Hamish will...
Yeah, and I'm ordering Hamo to guard the wagon.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just put her down here on the sort of like edge of the map, guarding the wagon.
And I'm following Maddox.
Okay, as you move into the sort of common room area, you can see the normal assortment of chairs, tables, etc. There's a bar which is like a couple of planks across some barrels. There's a couple of peasants in here. There's like 2-3 people who, from their manner of dress, the sort of earrings, the tattoos, etc., you'd gather to be sailors or pirates of some kind. There's another sailor stood behind the bar, and slumped on the bar here is a man who's also dressed like in the manner of a sailor, but he has like much sort of like fancier clothing on. He has a long cloak, has like a big hat, a wispy grey beard. He looks quite inebriated. He's like semi sort of slumped on the bar, like leaning on it with his elbows, but he's sat behind the bar.
Are these sailors or pirates or whatever they are, do they seem armed?
You can see that most of them have got, they all appear to have like swords on their belts, but they're just generally like moving around, and as you listen to them talking a bit, you can see they actually appear to be like taking drinks to the few people who are in there.
Yeah, I'm also armed, by the way, just in case.
It's fine.
Likewise.
What does that mean in Will's case? I mean, is that like 7 crossbows and...
I have no crossbow anymore, sadly, so it's only my bow and a pistol and a knife.
So lightly armed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just going to kind of barge my way over to here, hopefully with Hamish. And while muttering kind of like, I need a drink, 2 hours of making small talk about parsnips.
By the way, I nod to Sasha before going in, so we had our arrangement that we don't leave these guys alone, so I'm following Maddock.
Okay, no problems. Maddock, you stride over to the bar. The non-inebriated sailor who's behind the bar steps forward a little bit, and he's like, what can I get you?
We'll have 2 ales and, Will?
2 ales for my friend.
3 ales. And
3
a fish.
ales and a fish.
He's like, well, that's 2 ales, that's 2 copper for the ales, and another copper for the fish.
There you are. I'll just kind of...
Yeah, you hand him the money. He sort of like, you see him like rather gingerly makes his way around the sort of inebriated guy who's slumped on the bar, sort of like giving him like quite a wide berth, fetches you your ales, plonks them on the bar for you, and then he sort of like, slaps this fish on the bar.
All right. I'll just kind of slide the fish down the bar to Will.
Yeah, I'm eating it. I'm just stuffing it in my mouth and
I'm just kind of
flesh off the fish.
as if I was kind of like really eagerly going to drink my beer. I was just kind of like pick it up, start to drink it, and then like.
Hamish looks at you and he's like, "You're not gonna fucking cook that shit."
Yeah, and I'm just like, "Aye."
I'm biting off the head. No, I like it that way.
Hamish sort of like raises his eyebrows, mutters something, and goes back to his drink.
Yeah, next week they all want racists to keep working with us.
As this is going on, Ambrose and Matilda, having filled their water things, make their way into the tavern. They sit down at one of the tables and sort of order a bit of food from one of the sailors and a couple of like flagons of water, since they don't drink, and they're sort of sat there eating some food.
Out here, Sass is gonna refill our water skin. She's gonna go back to the cart and pick up 2 pistols and put them inside her cloak. So you wanna go in, Hakron?
Yeah. The water was celestial. I recommend it heartily.
Okay,
That's good.
feel free to move yourselves into the building. We're not in combat rounds, obviously.
Yeah. I'll say to the barman, I'm just like, so that guy, kind of like pointing at James Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he a member of staff or?
He sort of goes like, gestures for you to like keep your voice down, and he's like, oh, the captain there. And nah, he's just had a bit too much to drink. He gets a bit like this sometimes. At which point, like, Morgan pipes up and he's like, and if that Duke thinks he can come round here and tell me what to do on my ship. At which point the sailor was talking to you, was like, Captain, we're not on the ship anymore. We're in the tavern. The tavern, Captain. And he's like, come to my tavern and tell me what to do. And he sort of like drunkenly like pulls a sword off his belt and sort of waves it around a bit, and he goes, well, he's got another thing coming. I said, okay.
Did you have a ship?
Oh, I had a beautiful ship. She is a beauty. Finest ship that ever sailed the seven seas. And he he struggles to focus his eyes on you.
That sounds like a good story. She will get her pouch and she will take out 22 coppers and put them on the bar. Let's have a drink while we hear the story.
The sailor plonks some booze down in front of you, and he says, I have got some stories of the seven seas. What story is it you want to hear, lassie?
Oh, do you have any stories of heroics and romance and pirates?
And drunken people, and horrors of the sea.
Nothing about turnips.
He looks at you and he's like, turnips? What are you talking about? Turnips?
We're in the turnip business. Yeah, we sell turnips.
He says, you look like a bunch of lily-livered landlubbers.
And we are.
I'll just kind of by the edge of my tankard and just have a drink.
I'm just about to say something, but then I just don't do it.
If you take some of the drinks and she'll give one drink to this peasant, and she'll go down and give the other peasants a drink too. And the sailors will.
As you're distributing this, you can hear Captain Morgan at lunch in one of his stories say, there's this time we were tacking out of the wind, the sun behind us, wind filling our sails, and that was when I saw it rising up out of the water and the brownie deep in front of us. Huge tentacles to drag any ship down to the locker below. It was the Kraken, I tell you. Which one, the sailor, who's obviously heard this story a lot of times, is like, here he goes again.
Smiling.
Okay, the mentioning of tentacles reminds Sasha of the tentacle beast in the cave, so she turns a little pale from that. Maybe have something without tentacles.
At which point, sort of seemingly not hearing you.
Actually looks like.
Seemingly not hearing you, but seeing you go pale. He's like, you're right to go pale, lassie. I've seen it rend a ship in two, splintering the timbers and dragging everyone down to the watery grave.
I suddenly get a bit melancholic. I miss the good old days. I drink from my ale.
At which point he looks a bit sad and wistful, Morgan, and he says, but those days are long gone. I'm landlocked now in this miserable place. At which when the sailor is still working at the bar, he's like, it's not that bad, Captain. At least we've got a place. We've got money coming in. We've got booze. We've got food. And he's like, but what booze and food can compare to the law of the sea and feeling the waves beneath your timbers? And he sloshes his ale as he's talking and waving his hand about.
Have you ever seen some of fish people on your journeys?
He says, let me tell you the time I fought the shark folk of the southern seas. We were out there exploring the islands, looking for booty, and then I heard this. And before I knew it, they were coming over the side of the ship, scaly skins, fins out of their back, and huge, wide mouths full of teeth. Well, it was too late to get the guns out, so I pulled out my pistols, and he's gesturing around with his hands, he's saying it. And he's we lost 8 good men on that, but we drove them back, god damn it. He bangs his hand on the bar, which obviously made out of planks, of course, it to boom.
Yeah.
Kind of instinctively lift my drink just before he does it.
And then you started a bar?
He says, we're not by choice, though.
What happened?
At which point, again, the sailor's and he's like, well, it was old Duke Salt's fault. And he's and spits on the ground when he says his name. He said, we'd put into port to sell some of our booty. And while we were in our cups, he caught us and bought us up on a charge of piracy, didn't he? Well, We could have got away from that. We've got away from it before, haven't we, lads? And a few like the pirates around. They're like, "Aye, Captain, aye, aye, aye." Yeah, well, but no, they had us dead to rights. And then the day before we were due to go up in a gibbet, Lord Salt comes round to the cellars and he says, "I might be able to make you a deal to see you avoid the hangman's noose, but I need you to do some work for me." And of course, since we've never officially been pardoned, well, any time he wants, he can send his hangman down here and have us all up in a noose. So we're stuck here doing his dirty work for him.
So he has your ship in.
Aye.
He looks over at Ogren and remember when he was talking about going out to sea with Peter. Wasn't that the name of the old?
Yeah, Peter Birdwell.
Yeah. Well, why don't you? I mean, is this your entire crew?
Aye, all that's left of them. Well, there's a few more sleeping it off, if you know what I mean.
I mean, this is a good stable income, right? I mean,
if you like such things, but it's no life for a man of the sea like myself.
Why don't you kill him and take it back?
Oh, were it only that easy, I'd quite happily do so. But well, he's protected. They've got the academy, Stone's Academy up at Blymouth. Too many guards for us to fight our way through.
So what would happen if he would disappear?
Well, I'm sure they'd hunt us down. We wouldn't be... Duke Salt's got a lot of influence in these lands. Well, we wouldn't be able to make port for miles around. We'd have to start afresh and go elsewhere. And well,
you could lay port in Porthcrawl.
Well, that is maybe, but some of my men here, they've still got family ashore. And well, let's just say if we were to go back on a deal, they'd be the ones paying the price. For myself, I don't have anyone, but well, I'm not willing to put my men. I've been through a lot with my men. I'm not willing to put their families in danger just to see myself at sea again. Although I won't say I haven't thought about it. And he sort of looks down into his now empty cup, holds it out to the sailor, who like fills it up, and he starts like swigging again from his flagon.
Well, it seems a shame to have such capable sailors landlocked.
Aye, it's a tragedy, I tell you, a tragedy.
I'm leaning over and start to Sasha. I'm going over to her and whisper to her. Maybe we could turn in some favors and let Lady Harper speak to this lord.
Maybe.
I'm just shrugging and going back to my seat.
During most of this kind of like exuberant conversation, because it's like sea-based, Maddox just kind of like, oh, and I'm just trying to talk to the other barman, just kind of like, do you have any scotch eggs?
It's like a... And he pulls down like a wooden barrel, and as he sort of like puts it on the bar in front of you, you can smell like a powerful pungent odour of vinegar coming from it. He says, well, I don't know about scotch eggs, pickled eggs we can do.
Yeah, it'll do. I'll just... How much do they cost?
He's like, 2 for a copper.
Just give him a silver piece.
He pretty much just shoves the barrel towards you like himself. you can tell from like the look of these, how pickled these eggs are. They probably don't sell a lot over them. And like
Just finishing eating my fish.
Yeah, you guys can smell this like powerful waft of like vinegar as like Maddox there. Like.
Of raw fish and vinegary eggs. We're making it a delightful place around that bar.
Oh yeah, it's like someone's like a chemical weapon near the bar. That's what it smells like.
What is your name of this ship? Just in case if we happen to come across it.
He says the Crimson Maiden.
Good name.
Does that ring a bell for Sasha?
Is there any reason why it would?
Might be mixing up games. I thought it was something that you mentioned so way back.
Well,
Nope.
what do they use the Crimson Lady for now? Is it just on the docked on and nothing, no one uses it, or?
From what I hear, it's docked up in harbour, I suppose, just in case Duke Salt ever wants to take it out or send us out aboard ship to do his dirty work. And he spits again as he says Duke Salt's name.
I suppose getting a ship back and being clear of all pirate chassis would be worth a lot for you.
He looks a bit wistful at this point and he says, I'd give almost anything to feel the waves beneath my feet again. Being on land is no life for an old sea dog like myself. He's like, as Neptune is my witness, if I could get out on the sea again, I'd do almost anything.
Well, we'll be sure to let you know if we happen to come across any creative solution.
He nods. Just as an aside, Odrin, as he says like Neptune, you're like, that's another name for Dagon.
Oh.
Well, that changes everything.
Oh.
Although, to be fair, as far as you're concerned, like any god of the sea that is named is just like another name for Dagon.
Yeah, they're all just mistaken.
I mean, after all, the avatar that you and William saw in Bath called itself Nodens, and you're like, it's blatantly Dagon.
Yeah. Yep. Right, well, Odin's feeling quite good about this stuff, and as this like conversation has gone on, he's sort of like slid his way over here. And was William eating a raw fish?
Yes.
So Audrey's probably ordered some as well.
In that case, I probably suggest that myself and Hamish have moved away and are eating pickled eggs over here.
Yeah, Hamish is matching you egg for egg, man. He doesn't give a fuck, he's chowing down.
It's a battle. It's a true test of skill.
Yeah, I imagine you both like facing each other across the table and you both like...
Yeah, it's gonna be a pest wagon we're riding into Blymouth.
At one point, Hamish decides to up the game and he starts like thumbing like two into his mouth at the same time and he's like...
It's on!
And like, your faces are like getting closer as you're leaning nearer to each other like... And of course, every time you breathe out, you're like...
Wait, we're going to run out of eggs or we're going to choke to death.
Yeah, it's getting a bit pungent up in this place. The drinking and the conversation, etc., carries on. It starts getting like very, very late in the evening. As you can sort of see the moon rising outside, you suddenly see Morgan like staggers to his feet and he says, he lifts up his tankard, looks at his men who are still in the room, and he says, "To those who died in Malgreen," at which point everyone else is like, they all drink some of their flagons, and he slumps back down behind the bar again.
I'm adding something to our quest log.
That's absolutely fine.
Become a pirates?
Get Captain Morgan's ship back.
Yeah, Captain. How about we start with the rum?
I'm afraid it's always gone.
We need the ship first, then we can smuggle rum.
Having a group of pirates could be very useful.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we manage to pull it off, we can get a cut of the loot.
Well, he works for us for a couple of months, maybe, and then he's free.
Why not just take a cut?
Could be also working. The thing is, if we,
Yeah.
why should they hold their part of the bargain? If we hire them, actually, in what way or another, you can use my power on them. So, well, let's go to sleep.
I guess it's all a question about divisive. What is the word?
Hmm?
When you split up your investments.
Diversification.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a problem for when we actually have a way to give them their ship back and pardon them, which will not be easy. So maybe we can turn in some favors or something.
Are we getting a room here, by the way, in this inn?
Yeah, I think so.
We're getting at least 2 rooms because you and Hamish is gonna share one.
That was what I was going to say.
And I think William will stay near the wagon just in case.
Okay, it's going to cost you 2 silver pieces per room that you want to rent.
Okay, so we'll just take it out of the company pockets.
Yeah. As I said, I will stay near the wagon and maybe share the shift with our guard. So
We take 2 rooms, John.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Mark off the 4 silver pieces.
So 1 for Hamish and Maddox. I guess we need 3. If Aldrin want to sleep inside too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we take 3 rooms.
Okay,
So 1 for Sasha and the guard, and 1 for Aldrin. We get his own room.
okay, that's absolutely fine. The night passes fairly uneventfully. Unfortunately, whoever's next to the room with Maddock and Hamish in is probably kept awake a little bit by the fragrant scent of vinegar and like eggy farts wafting through the thin wooden walls over the course of the evening.
You need to make a poison save.
Snoring more than likely as well.
I'm going to move us back onto the main map as you wake up in the morning. It's an overcast day. There's dark green clouds in the sky.
So no rations used up this day, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Maddox will be notably happier to have like overcast rather than sunny weather. It's hardly Scottish weather.
Oh, indeed not.
Praying for hail.
Okay, so the next morning you all wake up. Captain Morgan is in the bar area. He's looking a little bit worse for wear. The rest of the sailors are moving around, sort of clearing up after the night before, etc. You can't see any sign of the travellers, Ambrose and Matilda, that you travelled here with. Perhaps they booked themselves into a room, you're not sure. You can't see them about. What do you want to do, guys?
Just get ready to leave, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll get up and purchase breakfast for myself and Hamish.
Eggs.
No, not eggs.
You notice as like Hamish is coming out, he's got sort of like a bit of an odd expression on his face, and as he's walking, he's like. There's a fair amount of gaseous emissions.
I imagine probably the way the breakfast went. They were like, "So, do you want the trimmings like eggs?" We're like, no eggs.
Yeah, probably the first thing you hear out of Hamish is as he sits down and the stool creaks under his weight. He's like, "I feel like a hen shit in my mouth."
I probably will just laugh in character.
Traveler and dwarf. At least you know what you're going to do for a side quest if it ever happens. That's just to rob. You can play.
Exactly.
Hey, just give me again. This is another fine mess you've got me into, Hamish. Okay, so are you guys heading up? Do you guys want to do anything before you head off to Blymouth?
No, it's all fine.
Yeah, I guess we leave.
Let's go.
Okay, so you guys pass the rest of the day travelling to Blymouth. It's fairly uneventful. I'm going to bring up the map of Blymouth. Let me know if you can see it. So just give me a moment.
No people on the way that want to have long chats about turnips?
No. What madness is that?
Yeah,
I can see something. It's loading.
I can see...
I got Shantytown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it all. I just hadn't zoomed out.
Okay, so just give me a moment. I'm going to drop you guys onto the map. I wish there was a slightly quicker way of doing this, but...
Oh, yeah. So Plymouth is quite a big place then.
Well, yeah, it's a city.
Oh, we are super tall in this city.
It's the place to be.
Every one of us is 120 feet in diameter.
Well, you've put on a bit of
It's all
weight
the
during the
eggs.
travels, yeah.
It's a distended skin over gas. It's a giant blimp.
It's more of our gas radius rather than our character model.
Is the sky always green in this game?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so as you guys are sort of heading into Blymouth by one of the sort of dirt roads, off to your right, you can see what appears to be a large sort of open cast mine. You know, sort of like wooden wheels, etc. You can see a lot of people sort of like working on it. To the south of that is what appears to be a walled castle or fort. As you're heading down the road, you can see what appears to be a couple of guards stood on the road just as you sort of enter the main village. They're wearing unfamiliar livery. It's obviously not the livery of the Harpers. You assume it to be the livery of Duke Salt, maybe. As you're approaching, they sort of wave you down, wave your wagon down.
So we are looking like
Turnip
normal
traders.
Turnip traders now.
Yep.
I mean, as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming, by the way, I left my riding goat back at home so we look more turnip trader rather than...
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so I'll just drop a counter for these guards. I believe I've got a generic guard counter. There we go, roundhead soldier, that'll do. Okay, so as you're approaching this guard flags down your wagon, you seem sort of like presuming you stop and just like bye, like ride past it.
Ride him down!
Or presuming Odrin isn't like drink.
No. I don't think so, no.
Okay, he flags you down and you seem like casting an appraising eye over your wagon and he says, "Greetings, what's your business in Blymouth?"
Pause for a brief moment and then kind of look around and be like, "Oh, aye, we're selling turnips."
He says, "Oh, traders, eh? Well, if you just pay the trading tax, you'll be able to go on your way and carry on with your trading."
How much is the trading tax?
At this point, I'm going to ask Odrin, can you please roll me a D8?
It's D8 times 100 silver.
Two.
He says, "Well, it'll be 7 silver pieces of each of you."
I just kind of look round, just kind of quizzically, and just be like,
42.
I was kind of like whisper, like, is that not a bit steep to enter a town?
Yes.
That seems a bit expensive, my lad.
He's like, that's the toll. Duke Salt's orders. If you want to trade in Blymouth, you're going to have to pay the toll.
Oh, so everyone has to pay the same toll?
If they're going to trade, yep.
Right. Just kind of like look round again, just kind of like...
Well,
Yeah, just pay him.
yeah, just pay him.
Okay.
I'll pass the money over then.
Okay, so make sure you deduct the money from your total, guys. He takes the money, stands aside, and he's like, enjoy your stay in Plymouth.
Aye.
So, what, 42? I'll just subtract
Yeah.
it from the company coffers.
6 times 7.
Okay, so you guys start riding into Plymouth. It's a busy hubbub of trade. As you're riding in on your cart, you can see other people with wagons with like wool, spices, bread, vegetables, spirits, pottery, tools. You see people like driving like huge herds of sheep into the town, presumably to sell as either livestock or for wool. As they're sort of being driven in, it's this whole hubbub of trade going on. Whereas Porthcrawl is like pretty much quiet, apart from when like there's an Odrin-inspired like riot going on or an execution. Blymouth is entirely different. Wherever you look, there's someone like shouting about their wares, or there's someone like haggling with other people, or people like walking around like shouting to other people. There's just people shouting left, right, and centre. The whole place is the noisiest place you've ever been, probably. Unless you're unfortunate enough to like sleep next to like Maddock and Hamish in the inn on the previous night, and then you've probably heard similarly noisy things going on.
Well, should we try to sell our stuff first?
Yeah.
Aye, for that price, I reckon so.
Okay, so you sort of follow the rest of the traders, who appear to be sort of heading towards the centre of town. I'm just going to move you all.
If at some point we need money, we'll just loot Ogren's bling. Now he's covered in gold. And silver.
I need it for my religion.
Yeah.
Okay, you ride into the centre of town past numerous buildings. You can see just give you a quick flavour of it, you can see on the outskirts there appear to be a lot of ramshackle, sort of like shanty town, like poor buildings. But as you get nearer to the centre of town, the buildings become a good deal more resplendent. There's a lot more craftsmen, there's a lot more traders, merchants, etc. And situated next to this large sort of open plan market in the centre of the city is what appears to be a large church with spires and a bell tower reaching high up into the sky. The noise gets even louder as you get into the centre of town, as the stalls set out. There's animals like bleating, cows mooing, there's people like shouting, exchanging money and shouting prices to each other. However, over that you suddenly hear the sound of a bell ringing, and you see a man wearing a sort of surcoat with a similar livery to the guard that you saw. He's walking around like ringing this bell, and he shouts, "Hear ye, know that Duke Igor Salt offers a purse of 5,000 silver pieces to anyone who can end the blight on the city's wells. Hey, yeah, hey." And he like walks down the street, his voice fading as he like repeats it at intervals. And I think, since I know that Johannes Arnold has to go in 10 minutes, that's probably a good place to leave it, and we'll pick up in Blymouth next time, if that's okay with everybody.
Well,
Yep.
water problems, that's just the thing for a Dagon priest.
Exactly. It's all about the water.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the session, guys.
Yes.
100%.
Thank you very much for playing. I'm going to end the recording now. As always, I'll sort out the XP and post it on the Facebook group tomorrow. But thanks, guys, for playing, and to anyone who's watching this either now or in the future,
Thank you very much, and we'll hopefully see you all next time. Take care.
Good night.
See ya.